a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus, you're as charming as an eel, Mr. Grinch. You're a bad banana with a greasy black peel. You're a monster, Mr. Grinch. Your heart's an empty hole. Your brain is full of spiders, you've got garlic in your soul, Mr. Grinch. I wouldn't touch you with a 39.5-foot pole. You're a vile one, Mr. Grinch. You have termites in your smile. You have all the tender sweetness of a seasick crocodile, Mr. Grinch. Given the choice between the two of you, I'd take the seasick crocodile.
Yay! Bienvenue and Merry Christmas, everyone. Before we light the chalice, I just wanted to share a couple readings. And with that introduction from The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, a little bit more from the Grinch. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And from my cousin's UU minister, Victoria Safford, now is the moment of magic, when an eastern star beckons toward an unknown goal. And here's a blessing. They find nothing in the end but an ordinary baby, born at midnight, born in poverty. And the baby's cry, like bells ringing, makes people wonder as they wander through their lives what human love might really look like, sound like, feel like. Now is the moment of magic, and here's a blessing. We already possess all the gifts we need. We've already received our presents, ears to hear music, eyes to behold lights, hands to build true peace on earth, and to hold each other tight in love. So let us begin. Akash, are you ready to light our chalice for the night? Perfect. Thank you. The story of the birth of Jesus is an old ancient story, cherished by many generations of Christians, but known by many non-Christians as well. Instead of just reading the story or telling the story, let's relive it together and enjoy, dive in, be a part of it. If you've come prepared today to play a particular part, you probably got some instructions to change your name. If you have any questions or you came in late, you can send a chat, I think, to one of the co-hosts. Otherwise, even if you're not dressed to play a part, you can join in. There's going to be times I might ask you to unmute and maybe boo and hiss because there are some villains. Or at some point, even if you're not dressed as an animal, you can unmute at times when I'll ask you to sound like an animal. You know, I'm always looking for sheep and cows and the kind of things you'd find in a stable. Sharmila? Oh, are you unmuted?
This is a sacred story of a new life. But we needn't be somber. In the spirit of the season, and our joy when new life enters this world and our lives, let's celebrate. It's okay to laugh and enjoy. The story of Jesus' birth is also a tipsy-topsy story. The first became last, and the last became first. A baby is heralded and revered above his earthly parents in a day when children were considered property, cheap labor, a way to keep property in the family line. This baby was not even a baby of royalty or riches, but of a poor family. Wise men, perhaps kings, visit this baby, not in a palace or mansion, but in a small barn behind an inn. Kings honoring the baby next to commoners, and shepherds, cows, and sheep. Rather than a cradle of gold with bedding of silk, the baby is wrapped in cloth and laid where animals would usually eat. Rather than coming to the Roman Emperor Caesar Augustus, or Herod, the Roman king of Judea, where Jesus was born, messengers of God, the Most High, the angels announced the birth of Jesus to simple shepherds tending their flocks in the fields.
So are there any angels out there? Any angels to spotlight? I know we have a couple that we'll see later in the evening. Oops, do we have some? I know there's a star there. Oops, there's some angels. Oh, there's an angel in space coming from the heavens. There we go. So Jill and there we go. The angels by the nativity scene. What did the angels say to the shepherds? Oh, they said,
Hark! Don't be so afraid. I bring you tidings of an ancient story, the story of the birth of Jesus. Now you might say this is old news. It was only around 2,000 years ago when we first announced this. You may know this story well. Heard it hundreds of times, you may say. But humor us, okay? Imagine.
Imagine that you've never heard the story before. Imagine that you live in a place and a time ruled by rulers who are unfair and treat people harshly. Everyone you know is poor, just getting by. The stories you tell each other are stories of barely surviving, of having only just enough, of trying to keep out of the way of horrible rulers and powerful people. There seems to be little hope for change. But then one day, today, you hear a different story. In this story, a baby is born to a traveling peasant family, born not even in a place for humans, but a stable, basically a barn surrounded by animals.
Hark, hark! In the birth of this child is the hope that a courageous life of love will be more powerful than forces of hate and violence. May your faith be renewed that humble people are just as important as powerful people, and that all have the right to decent lives of dignity. In this birth, as in all births, we invite you to believe in the hope of new beginnings and possibilities. Hark, hark, all ye people, to an old story that somehow brings new hope every year.
Thank you, angels. Please be sure you are muted, because if we don't mute when we sing, we won't sound so good. So let's sing "O Little Town of Bethlehem."
O little town of Bethlehem,
Where's Caesar? Caesar Augustus?
Let my decree go forth. All the world shall be registered so that all may pay taxes to me, the one, the only emperor of the Roman Empire, Caesar Augustus. All must go to the city or town where you were born to register. I know that for some this will mean a long journey, but I am Caesar Augustus, so tough togas.
Did you say tough togas? Oh, tough togas. Oop. Well, this is the point where we should boo and hiss. So you can feel free to unmute. The tough togas, Caesar.
Oh, it hurts.
Well,
That's harsh.
and then there was Joseph and Mary and their trusty donkey. Any donkey sounds out there? Right.
Well,
sounds.
Making their way. Just one donkey. Making their way to Bethlehem. Besides this particular Mary and Joseph, were there any other Marys and Josephs who showed up? Just wondering. No others? Okay, I see there's Caesar. Oh, there's Joseph.
I'm so sorry, Mary. I am only a lowly carpenter. I know you've been with the best, but all I could afford for this long trip from Nazareth to Bethlehem was this donkey. Not the best way to go when you're so big with a child.
Big? You think I look too big?
Did I say big? No. I meant to say beaming, glowing. Yes, glowing.
Glowing. Uh-oh, I think it's time.
Why in such a hurry to get registered? No government office is going to be open this late at night. We can register in the morning.
No, Joseph, it's time. Baby's coming. We need to find a place to stay.
You're muted, innkeeper.
Oh, I'm the innkeeper. No, you're muted.
You can put your volume up.
What can I do for you folks? You look like you've come a long way.
Is it really true that there isn't a single place to stay in Bethlehem?
Well, with everyone needing to return to register, there's really nothing available.
Isn't there anything? My fiance is about to have a baby.
Oh, it hurts.
I see. Well, I do have a room, but you'll need to be a real animal lover.
What do you mean, animal lover?
Oh, we'll take it.
Since we'll be with the animals, let us sing the French carol, Jesus our brother.
Oh,
So if you all would help me set the stage to make sure that we kind of get the feel of being in a stable. Oh, we've got a frog in the stable. If everyone could unmute their microphones, and we're looking for cows and frogs and sheep and donkeys. Oh, thank you all for your gifts that you gave Emmanuel. Thank you all. Why don't we mute again? Oh, and Mary, are you out there? Mary, are you in the barn?
I was just taking care of the baby. Oh, how long are we staying at this place? It sure is noisy. All those animals were never going to get the baby to sleep.
So we've seen angels and animals, Caesar, Mary, and Joseph. And there's baby Jesus. Are there any other babies out there? Any other babies to spotlight? No other babies. Okay. Well, I think we got a little sighting of a shepherd. And then there were shepherds in fields tending their sheep. Are there sheep out there? Oh, we can baa some more. I could use some baaing. Well, in the midst of all the baaing, an angel came to them.
Do not be afraid, for I am bringing you news of great joy for all people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior who is the Messiah, the Lord. This will be a sign unto you. You will find a child wrapped in bands of cloth and lying in a manger. Hark!
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 Hark! Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace, goodwill among all people everywhere. And now all the heavenly hosts will be on our way.
Whoa, I hope I wasn't the only person who saw that, right? Well, should we do it? Should we go to Bethlehem and see the thing that has taken place? I mean, after that, how could we not go?
Any other shepherds out there that are going to join Kylan to Bethlehem? I don't know if anyone else came. Kylan, I love all those sheep. Okay. And now as they arrive at the stable.
Oh my, now there's shepherds and sheep coming by. Who would have known how busy this little stable would be?
Oh, and then a star appeared. Oh, there's the star. Wise people had seen a star and wondered what it foretold. And so the wise people assembled with Queen Herodina.
Oh yeah, a baby who will be king of the Jews. What do you think I've been doing all these years? What am I, chopped liver? But go diligently. When you find him, let me know where he is, because I also want to visit him and honor him, not.
Oh, boo. And there was word. Wait, before we hark, we missed a wise person.
We
A
did.
wise person was going to tell what they were going to do.
Where's the child who's been born King of the Jews? We wish to honor him and give him gifts.
Yeah. So the wise people, after the boos and hisses and the frankincense and myrrh that they're going to bring on their journey, the wise people began their journey to find the baby. So let us help them, and we'll sing "We Three Kings," and we'll help them on their way. Now we heard about the wise people. What about the queens?
The queens came late, but the queens were there with gifts in their hands and crowns on their hair. They'd come, these three, like the kings from far, following, yes, that guiding star. They'd left their linens, ladies, and looms, their children playing in nursery rooms, and told their sitters, take charge, for this is a marvelous sight we must not miss. The queens came late, but not too late, to see the animals, small and great, feathered and furred, domestic and wild, gathered to gaze at a mother and child. But rather than frankincense and myrrh and gold for the babe, they bought her who held him, a homespun gown of blue, and chicken soup with noodles too, and a lingering, lasting cradle song. The queens came late and stayed not long, for their thoughts already were straining far past manger and mother and guiding star and child aglow as a morning sun, toward home and children and chores undone.
You're muted, Pat.
sorry, I'm muted. As the wise people returned to their countries, Mary pondered what had happened in her heart and said,
Oh, Joseph, they seem very nice. But what are we supposed to do with frankincense and myrrh anyway? To know it was very nice of them to give me a blue gown and chicken noodle soup. What could be better? Now that was a good gift. Yay for the queens.
in this ancient story, on a holy night, a holy birth was witnessed. Announced by angels, a star shone above the simple stable where the babe was born. Shepherds and wise people visited, brought gifts. May we too invite the holy into our lives, invite hope into our lives. In the words of Reverend Richard Gilbert, may hope find its way into our hearts, even when our minds tell us there is no hope. May charity speak to us even when we have nothing to give. May loving kindness be with us when our store of love is exhausted. Sharmila. Oop, you're muted.
At this time in our service, we would have usually passed the plate and proceeds would have been shared with the Ottawa Food Bank and the Minister's Discretionary Fund to assist those in need. Do consider donating to the Ottawa Food Bank or the First U Minister's Discretionary Fund at this time of year. Please join us as we sing, O Come All Ye Faithful.
There is a story that is one of my favorite stories at Christmas time. I'll start by saying I used to have a Christmas album that had an old woman with a twittery voice who told stories of Christmas. It actually came from the family who the son invented the Nerf ball, and he invented the game Twister, by the way. And if you were a client of their insurance company, you would get this record album. And she started to explain that on the Christmas tree, every ornament had a purpose. You were, and far more ancient than the story of Jesus, that in people of ancient times, they would put balls on the tree to make you think of the heavens and the planets. They would put wispy things on the tree to make you think of the heavens and clouds. And they would put lots of different things. I remember when I was little, my mom had made for each of us a ornament. My one sister had Sophia as an angel with her owl, and my brother had an elf with an upside down umbrella that looked like it was blowing in the wind, and his beard was blowing as well. And I had Santa Lucia was made for me with the crown of candles and the basket of rolls. But for my other sister, she had an angel with an apron full of stars. And in this album, this record album, I learned about the angel with an apron full of stars. And the story goes that the angel was up in the heavens when it was announced that this special baby was being born and that everyone should bring the baby gifts. And the angel thought, well, I don't have anything. So she filled her apron full of stars, and she went to earth. And everywhere she went, she saw someone who maybe could use a star. She saw a poor person and she gave them a star. She saw someone who was poor who was also blind, and she gave them a star in hopes that their sight might be regained. She saw someone who was a leper, and that was something we heard about in the time of Jesus, that people had leprosy. She gave them a star. And by the time she got to the stable where the baby lay, she didn't have any stars left. She had given them all away. And she said to baby Jesus's dad, she said to Joseph, I'm so sorry, I don't have any stars left. I was going to give Jesus a star, your baby a star. And Joseph said to the angel, well, the least of these you have given your star to, you have given unto him. And that was the story. So why don't we sing the first Noel?
The
So thank you everyone for coming and letting us into your homes as we welcomed you into ours. Thanks to our musicians, readers, Zoom techies, and all who joined tonight. One announcement, our candle lighting service of music and readings will premiere tonight at 7:30 on our official First You YouTube channel, and I hope you take a peek. A little more meditative than perhaps our Zoom session. And so as we extinguish the chalice, I read these words adapted from the Reverend Christine Robinson's Christmas meditation. Let us open our hearts to this ancient story. Like the wandering couple, may we find that our greatest trials issue forth from our greatest joys. Like the harried innkeeper, may we find ways to be of help to others. Like the lumbering beasts and frog, may we be silent witnesses to the unfathomable glory of life. Like the shepherds on the hill, may we know that we need not be afraid. Like the journeying wise, may we always have the courage to follow our stars. Like the angels, may we cry peace to a troubled world. May this season of peace and goodwill nudge us and our world toward its ideals, for then will Christmas truly dawn. Akash, if you could extinguish the chalice. There it goes. Go in peace, go in joy, go in love, and Merry Christmas to all. Have a good night.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry
Christmas.
Very well done. Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Thank you,
Merry
everyone.
Christmas.
Bye, Heather.
Merry Christmas.
Everybody, happy
Thanks,
holidays.
Akash.
Merry Christmas.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Grinch.
Well done.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Christmas.
Hey.
Three.
Merry Christmas to all.
Yes.